All right, in this video we're going to take a look at where conversions start to get a little challenging for most people, and these are called multi-step conversions. So the biggest problem with most of these is when you look up your information, you don't have a direct link. Okay? You don't always have exactly the right conversion factors available that you would want. And nobody in their right mind off the top of their head would know exactly the conversion between ounces and kilograms. Okay, that's not a normal thing to have memorized. So you have to start to look up some things, and the worst part is you have to make up your own pathway here. You have to make up some way to get from ounces to kilograms, and most of the time there's more than one option. You can go a lot of different directions and still end up with the same result. So let's take a look at what we have to work with. Here's our sheet that has all these conversion factors on it, and obviously there's more pages that have other conversion factors, but you don't want to carry around a bunch of stuff with you. We're just going to use what we have and make it work for us. Ounces and kilograms. Well, that's weight and mass. So I look right here, okay? And when I look at this, okay, this right here, basically, it gives me some information that I need, but it doesn't give me that direct linkage. Okay, so I'm going to write down some of the things that might be helpful. The top one says 16 ounces equals 1 pound. Okay, well, I have ounces there, so I know that might be helpful. 16 ounces equals 1 pound. That doesn't really help me with kilograms though. I look down at the next one, and the next one says 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. And most of you can see where this is going. I don't have a direct number that tells me ounces in 1 kilogram, but I do have a way to connect them, and I have to go through pounds. And so basically I have to make up a process that will get me there. And in this case, I think if I turn ounces to pounds, then I can turn those pounds into kilograms, and I'll have the correct value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a conversion chart just like we did before. I'm going to start with 50 ounces, and I'm going to draw a fraction bar. Okay, now notice I drew it longer because I know I'm going to need more than one step. Eventually, I would like to end up with kilograms as being my last value. Eventually I want to end up with kilograms being my last value, but I can't get directly there, so I'm going to have to go through pounds. Pounds is my middle step. So I put the pathway I want on top. I want ounces to turn to pounds, and that to turn to kilograms. Okay, all I'm going to do now is put in another little divider there to kind of help me organize this. But I have ounces turning to pounds, turning to kilograms. That part you have to make up, and that's the worst part of most of these is there is no set way to do this. I had to make up how I was going to get there, and that was all based off of what I had to work with. And I might find other ways to get there too. This is just the one I chose. Okay, but let's remember how we set it up in the one-step conversions now. Once we have our units on top, we've made the decision of how we're going to get there. We just have to get the mechanics down of how to make sure some of the rest of these units go away. I don't want ounces to be in my answer. So I'm going to take ounces and I'm going to drag it right down here. I don't want pounds to be in my answer. I'm going to take it and drag it right down there. And if I do that, ounces will cancel out because I got one on the top and one on the bottom. Pounds divided by pounds gets canceled out, and I'm left with kilograms, which is what I'm looking for. Okay. Now, I essentially have two conversion factors I need here. And remember, the number on the top and the number on the bottom have to represent the same amount of stuff, just with a different type of measurement. Okay, so in this case, I'm dealing with pounds and ounces. It's really important I write those units because it keeps track of what I'm looking for. And if I look back up at what I had to work with from my conversion factor sheet, 16 ounces equals 1 pound. Okay, 1 represents pounds. Here's pounds, so I put a 1 with pounds. It doesn't matter that it's on the top or the bottom, it matters where the units are. Ounces, 16 goes with ounces. Okay, and I'm just going to leave that. I'm not going to mess with it just yet. Okay, I've got the right numbers there. 1 pound is equivalent to 16 ounces. They mean the same thing. So they haven't really changed what this is. They just changed what sort of units it is measured in. Next one, 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. 1 goes with the kilogram. 2.2 goes with the pounds. So I've taken all this information, now I've got it here. But remember, the units are what got me there. That's what told me where things go. If you just start throwing numbers in, you may have things upside down and it really doesn't mean what you think it means. Now, how do I deal with solving this? It's actually pretty easy. Remember, the ones don't affect anything. Multiplying by 1, they don't really change the number, so let's just kind of ignore them. They're there, but we're just not going to mess with them. So really what I have here is 50 times 1 times 1. I can ignore that. And then on the bottom, I have 16 times 2.2. Okay, now you have an option here. I have two numbers in the denominator. I can use parentheses and I can multiply those together and get one number, and then take 50 divided by that one number, and that's fine. But sometimes if you forget to use your parentheses, this is not going to work out the way you think on a calculator. So the way I like to do it is I just like to multiply by the numbers on the top and divide by the numbers on the bottom. So I turn this into 50 divided by 16 divided by 2.2. I just type it in like that. 50 divided by 16 divided by 2.2. I'm not multiplying because the 2.2 is on the bottom. I got to take this value and it gets divided by 2.2. If I just type it in like that, 50 divided by 16 divided by 2.2, this is going to give me a value of 1.42. Now remember, there has to be a meaning there. 1.42 what? Ounces is gone, pounds is gone. It's got to be kilograms. This represents what I was asked for in my original problem, 1.42 kilograms. Okay, and the nice part about this process here is this could be 2 steps like it was here, 2 changes, or it could be 3, 4, 5, as many as you need to get where you're going. That's why I call them multi-step conversions. It might be, it's all more than 1 step. It might be 2 steps, it might be 5 or 6. It all depends on what sort of things you have to work with, numbers you can find. Okay? Now, this process gets a little tough for people, but still, no matter how many steps you pick, if you do all the units correctly, you should still end up with a value of 1.42. That won't change. Okay? The way you get there might, but we still should end up with the right value here that represents 50 ounces as an equivalent value. Now I want to take a look at what's next to this. This process can also be used if you get kind of confused with where to move decimals. See, this is 2 metric units, and we're going to work with a lot of ways to manipulate the decimal and get it to fit what we need. But if you look at that and kind of get twisted around, you're like, this is not making sense to me. I'm kind of messed up on which way to move the decimal. You can use this process and you'll get there as well. Okay, so what you're going to find right here is these metric prefixes are going to be shown up in this part. And there's some examples. Okay, this says kilometer and centimeter. Okay, we're going to find those things in here, but it could say kilogram and centigram. It means the same thing. As long as it says kilo and centi, it doesn't really matter whether it's length or mass or volume on here. As long as it is still kilo and centi, it's the same relationship. So what I'm going to do is look for things that deal with kilometer. And I go through here and go, oh, okay, I've got 1 meter equals 0.001 kilometers. Or I've got 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer. So you can use either one, it doesn't matter. I'm going to use the one that has the whole number. 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. Okay, that helps me. Is centimeters on there anywhere? Let's see, centimeters. Oh, that's right here. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. Now I'm going to approach it the same way I did over here. Even though really it's just an exercise in moving the decimal, this can kind of help reset you and go, okay, I was on the right track, or no, I was thinking about this in a backwards way. So I'm going to write this down just the way we've been doing it. 2.5 kilometers. I'm going to draw a fraction bar. And now just kind of like this one, it looks like I'm going to have 2 steps I got to go through. I can't go straight from centimeters to kilometers. I'm going to have to go through meters in the middle. So I'm going to try to turn kilometers to meters and then to centimeters. That's my pathway. That's the part you have to choose based on the information you have to work with. Kilometers to meters to centimeters. Okay, I'm going to put in my little dividers just to help organize this. And now I've essentially got the problem done. I have made the decision of what I'm going to do. I just have to put the mechanics in to make it all mean the correct thing. So I don't want kilometers to still be in my answer, so I'm going to put kilometers down here. I take these units and I drag them down. They cancel out. I'm going to take these units and drag them down. They cancel out. Notice I still have not put any numbers in. If you will commit to doing the units before the numbers, you will find that this always ends up in the right spot. If you start throwing the numbers in ahead of time, it's very easy to get mixed up. And you'll notice when it happens, and you go back and have to redo the problem. Now, I'm going to look at this conversion factor, kilometers to meters. Look at the numbers. 1 goes with the kilometer, that happens to be on the bottom. 1. 1,000 goes with the meters. Over here, I've got meters to centimeters. 1 goes with the meter. Meter happens to be on the bottom. 100 goes with the centimeters. Okay, this time, it's different than this. My ones happen to be on the bottom. Okay, remember, I'm going to ignore ones. They don't change it mathematically, so I'm going to kind of pretend they're not there. So really what I have to do is 2.5 times 1,000 times 100. Okay, and if I type that into the calculator, I'm going to get 250,000. Okay, I get a lot of extra zeros. It's a much bigger number. But let's think about what that means. That has a meaning to it, just like this one did. That means centimeters. Centimeters is about the size of your pinky finger. Okay, and we want to know how many centimeters are in 2.5 kilometers. And kilometer is not the same as a mile, but you can think about it as being the same type of order. It's in the same order of magnitude. So I'm going to have a huge amount of pinky fingers to make up a couple of miles. All right, now, 250,000 centimeters. Is that the only way to do this problem? Absolutely not. I could have just moved my decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots to the right, put in zeros, okay, and I would end up with 250,000. But it's very easy to mix up. Do I move to the right or the left? Is it bigger or is it smaller? This will always kind of help you reset to the meaning of things, and you can always get there. It's not the quickest way, but you can get there. All right? It's really important to recognize that the 1 is not just there for no reason at all. The 1 goes with the kilometers because that's the measurement of kilometers in that conversion factor. Okay? It's really important you match it with where the units go. So this is how we're going to approach multi-step conversions, especially ones kind of like this where you don't really have any idea where it's going and you have to make up a middle step in order to get there.